Work, work, work. Yo. Good evening, people. What's going on, man? So, I know you see what's going on out there, okay? I told you. This year, going into next year, alright? For the next 18 months, and I said this back in April, okay? There's gonna be a lot of stuff going on. There's gonna be a lot of info pouring out. And what y'all fail to realize is that you could be included. You could be included. Now, why would I know this information and then go and do some underhanded stuff knowing I'll be part of it? Yeah, really, anybody who can make it make sense, I'd appreciate it. How's everybody doing? Okay? I kind of like this one, low key, I like this one. Gotta work hard, alright? Work hard. Stop looking for the easy route. Work hard at whatever it is. Stay dedicated, alright? These hobbies and things that we enjoy and that we do, work hard at them. It's not a quick get rich quick scheme, okay? Work hard at it. Your hobbies, right? The things that you're passionate about. If you stay dedicated to them, you will build character, right? Because this is what your inner self wants. This is what makes your inner self happy. So the more you stay with it, the more your inner self will grow, okay? It builds character. I've been making music for a long time, but I don't give up on it. Hey, one day it makes me some money, great. If it doesn't, great. Okay? But this is something that makes me happy. This helps me build character. This helps me develop patience and things of that nature, right? This helps me develop those virtues because for me to get up every morning and choose that I'm gonna do this, okay? And learn why I'm so drawn to this, right? And go down that rabbit hole. Alright? I start learning more about myself. I become a better person. I start removing things around me that don't serve me, okay? Like I said, if I'm not working, I'm working because self-improvement is a full-time job. Y'all don't hear me though. I'm the weird guy for making sense. Though. They be like, who does he think he is? Who does he think he is? Don't come over here and try and tell me. Walk out here with his chest poked out like, it was just the facts. You can't handle facts, then I feel sorry for you. Alright? What I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna lie to you. Alright, let's move over. So yeah, anything you passionate about, I don't care if it's drawing, I don't care if it's writing, I don't care if it's making pottery, I don't care if it's staring at the sun for 6 hours a day, I don't care if it's bird watching, whatever it is, do it, be good at it. Be so good at it, you can close your eyes and you can see it. You can see it, the whole entire process from start to finish. You can see it. You can talk about it. Alright? Soon as someone says, hey, I like watching birds, you're like, oh yeah? Blah, 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 blah. Engage in the conversation. See where they at. Maybe they just started, okay? Maybe they're a couple steps up, okay? Maybe they're way up and they're further than you, okay? Meet somebody, maybe you got something to teach them. Or you meet somebody and maybe they got something to teach you. That's how it works. But going around thinking cause you got a little something, or you might be sitting in a certain position right now, a little higher than everybody, and looking down and pointing and doing all that. Hey, look, there's some things you can't see that'll snatch you from under that place so fast. I've seen it. Alright, here we go. Our next video game flip. I'm just gonna mix this down. I haven't really too much been feeling like doing music, but even when I don't feel like actually creating something, I'll still play around, I'll still practice, do stuff like that, and then I'll go on about my day. Can't have a good day all the time. But in those not so good days, that's where you learn. That's where you learn how to make good days, okay? Alright, so let's get this. Wait a minute, what is this? This stuff, I might try to add that in later, but we won't do that today. Say this was like a Simco. That was about right. Okay. Cool. So sort. Let's do it like that. Grab these. Boom. Okay. Oops. Sony. Right over. Okay, that was part of it too. Wait, it still stayed there? No, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, so I guess that's what it's supposed to happen right there. keep forgetting I have that. That's okay. Feel bad for this. Alright, hold on. Okay. Now let's take these. Drop them here. Okay. To 11, then we have here, and we can move these here. Alright. Okay, so we already kind of got this mapped out. Okay, so I said mapped out, but we do have it mapped out, but also we have our premix ready. Okay, so again, you know, like I was saying, take your gain. We're not going to touch the faders. Leave the faders at 0 dB. Not touching any faders. Use your output gain, or use a gain plugin on the first slot for each of your mixer tracks if you don't have an input gain knob to be able to manipulate or control the flow of the sound going into the mixer. Okay, and we're gonna get our level straight. We want to be able to hear everything. Okay, we're not trying to make anything, you know, super loud or nothing like that, and we're still trying to project the target. We're still trying to reach a target. So we want our mix to be somewhere between -3 and -6 dB, so somewhere around here, and that's just the total. So with our premix, we should be able to, you know, kind of align and set everything up so that when we get done and everything is playing together, we're hitting this target mark. Once we've done that and everything sounds good and about as balanced as we can get it, then we can start the mixing process. Once we get done with the mixing process, then you should be able, okay, you should be able to still be at your target, okay, still be between -3, -6, but you'll have a cleaner version of what you started with, right? So your premix, we have no effects, you know, etc., etc. I think here we might have something with, which I don't think I did. Yeah, we did. So I have the pitch wheel, of course, and then here I kind of cut into that so we can hear the bass from the bass guitar, like while we were playing. But essentially, we don't want any of that. Okay. But if you have something that's like changing the pitch or something like that, okay, things you do in the, you know, in the beginning when you're just building and creating the music, that's fine, right? So any kind of reverb or whatever you added to the sound to enhance it to get it a way that you wanted it, that's one thing, okay? Coming in here, cleaning up, creating space, blah, blah, blah for all of the sounds, that's another thing, okay? So a lot of times, it makes sense to just kind of print the tracks after you get done, right? After you kind of balance everything out. What I like is using Komplete, okay? And it's not saying just Komplete. There are other VSTs, a lot of them I would say, that have things, but what I like about Komplete is it gives you like everything, right? Even if the particular library or VST had something you wanted to apply, but it didn't have it, you could always go here and add it, okay? So while you're, you know, maybe we wanted add some like reverb on this to make it sound a little cooler or something like that, we can go and add that here, okay? And we can save this for when it's actually time to mix. Mixer, mix, get it? So once we have our premix and we're at our target, so take a look here. I'm gonna cut this off. Alright, so you can see like we're just kind of just barely there. We could go and, you know, kind of turn some things up or whatever, right? And make that just a little bit louder. Or we can wait until we're like towards the end and I don't know, try to fade her up or something. Just increase the volume a little bit more. But it being right around -6 it's fine, okay? It is fine. Oh shoot. Wait a minute. Okay, so we're about here. This is cool. And what I like to do is we have our drum bus. Guess we don't really need this here. I don't have anything else, but maybe later. All right. Maybe later I'll go in and we might add something. I'll use this. But right now there's only one other sound besides this. I could throw this in here as well, but a lot of times, and I don't put my bass in here because, you know, once you start adding like reverb and things like that, yeah, you don't want that in your bass. All right. For a bass guitar, that'll depend. But for like your synth bass and stuff, you typically want to keep that about as clear, clean, and dry as you can get it. Alright. Don't know why that moved down. Okay, so let's go ahead and so I will be going back to redo this. Like what? Yeah, I'm gonna redo it. So as I kind of mentioned yesterday, I have these bad boys here, and my job to learn, get better with them. Okay, so I do plan to go back, remix all of this stuff, but you know, doing this stuff on stream, right? Using, you know, like parametric EQ. Let me finish that sentence, all right? But using that will give you a visual, so you can kind of see what's going on and all that as I explain things, all right? Whereas if I'm going to use that, you're not going to be able to see anything, right? You can only hear, and I'm talking, but you're not seeing anything. So let's start. Great, blinding me. Here we go. All right, so one of the first things we can do is we know we have bass, and we know we have our kick, and we know that they pretty much kind of occupy, right? See where it's kind of more red or more energy, okay, around the same places. But we got to get these to play together. Play nicely together. Okay, so one thing we know is that in our kick, we're typically not looking for our kick to take the sub frequencies. Usually we want our bass to do that, okay? To take the really, really low end. So what we could do is we could add or put on a high pass filter, okay? Low cut, high pass, they're interchangeable, okay? Now no, not not a high shelf or low shelf. That's a completely different thing, okay? But if someone says low cut, or in your program or your tool it says low cut, it basically means high pass, okay? It's the same thing. So basically, all of the frequencies to the left of this curve get taken out, okay? Everything to the right passes through. So the higher frequencies is why it's high pass, okay? So let's bring that to about 60 to start. Sometimes you can push up to about 70 if you need more room, okay? So you can maybe push it up to about here, okay? It's up to you, but 60 is a good starting point, and it usually works like 99% of the time, okay? So we have that, and our bass, okay? The bass, we want to feel bass, but not necessarily hear bass, and there we go. I'm not seeing, hold on, let me full screen this. Yo, Mount Peasy, I can see the alert on my, but I can't see anything in the chat. That is weird. Appreciate the lemons, Mount Peasy. How you doing, man? So we're gonna try and use a low pass, okay? So we hear high cut or low pass, it's the same thing. We're gonna use this to try and push in. We don't wanna do it so much to where it's like dull and you can't really make it out, okay? For me, I like to bring it up to about 1K, right? Just to start. Reason being is because sounds like this, your piano, etc., okay, they tend to start, right? The sweet spots up at the higher frequencies tend to start like 1K up to maybe 3K, sometimes depending on what it is. If it's some kind of lead high frequency, you can maybe get away pushing it a little further, but somewhere like 1, 3, I'm scared to say 4, but you know, because once you get to like 4K, you can start getting into like the pain, right? Like you start getting right here, it's a little harder for the kick to make out, but once you get here on a lot of sounds and you start boosting, it gets like very painful to your ears, okay? And then up until about 8K, it gets really harsh, okay? So a lot of times this area over here, we tend to kind of stay away from, but there are certain sounds where that's where it's at, okay? That's where it's at, but when you get there, just be very intentional with how far you're gonna do it, okay? Now what we can do is for our kick, okay, since we already got this kind of like rolled off, can you see that boosting here makes no sense, okay? We got to go to the next available place. So once we cross about where this line, okay, we're looking for the next thing that sounds good. Okay, that might be too far right there, but let me make this a little smaller. That's probably our problem. All right, so boom, we start going. Back a little bit. Okay, so like about right here. Again, I was looking down, okay? I was like this and I was just listen. Here we go. I like with this sound right here. Look at where we're at. We're at about 85 hertz, okay? So when we're dealing with kick, your thump is usually somewhere like 60, hertz, 50 hertz. That's where you're gonna get like that thump, right? In your kick. That's definitely gonna make some speakers shake, okay, when that thing hits. But right here, right, it's not as intense, but you're still kind of you're getting the sound, you're hearing it, but you don't feel it. Okay, and this is what we want in our kick. Okay, so what this does, it allows our kick to kind of stand out a little more. It still has like impact, and then we let our bass, okay, let the bass give the rumble. Just, I'm not gonna actually do it like this, but okay, we turn this up. So we can let this, right? And we can feel the rumble, and then you just get the impact from the kick, but the kick is not making the thump. Okay, we give the thump to the bass. Okay, so that's kind of the trade-off there. That allows your bass to come in and sound a lot cleaner, right? It'll sound nicer. But yeah, you don't want to do like this. Okay, what ends up happening is these lower frequencies, okay, are now rampant. And when we get to these sub frequencies, kind of like, so I'm doing good. How about you? I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. We're trying to get this this other video game flip mixed down. I may want to, because I haven't done anything on the arrangement end, and I may want to do something a little more. But I'll do that another time. Lately, I've been finding kind of like lacking the inspiration to like want to do music or even game really. Like I've been playing what's it called, Wuthering Waves. It's new, so I was decided I'll check it out because I like RPGs. Yes, I kind of made my stream, all horror and all that stuff, but I like RPGs. RPGs are my first love. Okay, so kind of drew me to it. I've been playing that. Just being like a mindless zombie. I'm like, click, 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 click. But I've been trying to practice too. It's like I don't feel like trying to make a beat, but still trying to work on my playing and stuff like that. So trying to do a little something every day. Let's see. This is what we got. My IQ. My EQ. I was about to say my IQ. My IQ is not that high. Hey, shh. Alright. Don't tell people my IQ is high, okay? So this is from Yakuza 0, I believe. And I added the bass guitar, those bells that you heard in the other part, and then this is pretty much the game. Added the drums. And then we tried to take some cuts and do some things. Alright, so what I plan is this is going to be that second community project that I promised you guys that it took forever to get to. It was work, and hey, work was low-key like kind of terrible, and then I got the opportunity, which I took, and of course I passed, okay, and so I became placed as a level 2 starter tech. I was like, yeah, let's go, because like I still deal with computers. I can still build them and all that, but it's like when it came to that, the only experience I had when it came to like soldering was when I went to ITT Tech, showing my age here, because that school don't exist anymore. Because they're a bunch of frauds, a bunch of phonies. That made me think about SpongeBob. Hey, look, guys, he's a phony. So, yeah. Who knew that, something I did 20 years ago, I was still surprisingly kind of good with her. Like, so you want level 1 or level 2? I was like, excuse me? Of course I want level 2. So, yeah, that was pretty dope. But before that, man, you want to talk about the runaround. Could you come do this? So and so's not here. Could you come do that? Come over here. Like, how do you sit in an area and like know 3/4 of the area, and whenever somebody needs help, they come find you because nobody else wants to leave whatever they're doing or they're a little simplified, whatever. They don't want to go and do like any of the hard stuff. So it's usually like me, and there's maybe like 5 or 6 others that, they might move around or something like that, but, you know, they've been there a lot longer, right? It was just like, come find me, come find me. Somebody's not here. Let's drag you over here. I know you don't really know how to do this, so this person's gonna show you what to. You're like, what? There's nobody over here. I had to come all the way over here for that because nobody over here. It was like that. So, but yeah, I digress. Let's get back to this. All right, so we got our kit, our base. So you have it boosted over here at about 85. Okay. So what we're gonna do is in our base over here, I'm gonna come over to 85 and we're gonna create just a slight dip. We don't have to do anything too serious. All we're doing is enough to where we can actually hear our kick. Okay, it doesn't sound like it's fighting. Okay, definitely can tell like that in the extreme, the bass is kind of drowning out the kick. So all we want to do is just a little bit, create a pocket, let this kick just kind of stand out. And then if we want to go further later, we can sidechain our kick and our bass, and we can have a lot more frequencies dip. But all we're trying to do right now is get these two to blend together, EQ, all right, and play well. So, continuing here, let's turn this down. We're gonna add a low pass. And just like we made room here for things that live down in this area, we're gonna do the same thing because we have things that live up in this area, okay? So we're gonna create that space. So how you know typically if you've gone too far or not is when you're cutting out the high frequencies, you'll push in enough to where you start losing the character. You can't really distinguish, okay? Okay. Once we can kind of hear all that stuff now and we can make out that's the kick, that's where we stop, okay? Your piano, whatever it is, when you low pass, push in enough to where you can hear it, where you lose the characteristic, okay? Whatever it is, whether it's the clarity, right? Whatever that is. Once you lose it, that means you went in too far. Just back it up a little bit more, and then once that pops out at you again, stop. That's perfect. And whatever room is left, great. So now, instead of, and we're just talking about this, but you can have other things here as well, right? Now, whenever this hi-hat plays, it has to fight with the frequencies coming off of these other sounds, and so you might have to do something like this just so you can have your hi-hat be heard, right? And you shouldn't have to do that. So if we cut in here, okay, we're not fighting, okay? And the more we do that with other things, right? Our bass, like we did that, okay, and we start creating these spaces. Just to give an example. Okay. Just give it an extreme, and you can hear your hi-hats. Okay, we have to turn it up because this is kind of drowning it out, making it sound a lot lower than it is, and not very audible. Okay, now it's cool if you don't want the hats to be loud. That's one thing, but you still need that clarity. You still need to hear it's there, right? So the more you do this across the board, the more you'll make room for things that ultimately live down there. Then it just pops out when these things hit. You're like, ooh, all right. Now, let's see. Again, once you start losing that clarity, too far. Back it up a little bit. Okay. Clear. We can hear the bell. Clear as day. Great. And now, what's left here, this, they're gonna allow for these things that live up here and occupy this space room to breathe. Okay? And we create balance. That's our job as mixing engineers, is to create balance. When you're going to mix a song or mix a beat, what we're looking to do is create a balance between all of the sounds in this project, right? That's what we're looking to do. Now, once you get to the mastering stage, you want to add a little more low end, or you want to, bring out the high end a little bit. Fine. That's not our job in mixing, okay? In mixing, we are taking our tools and we're whipping. We in the kitchen, we whipping. We about to bake a cake, okay? And we need all these ingredients, all these sounds that are playing. We need them in a consistency, okay? We need this smooth, okay? We need to be able to hear everything. We need all the flavors and everything. We need it all blended, okay? And we can bake it, okay? And when it comes out, then we put the finishing touches on it, right? We get into mastering. You start adding the frosting and all that other stuff, right? And you make the cake look like what it looks like. But when that cake first comes out the oven, that don't look like nothing you want to eat. Okay? You're like, okay, sweet bread. Great, right? But it's what you do after the bread's been baked and it's all even and it's not uneven and lopsided and all that stuff. And then when you go and add the finishing touches, you go and add frosting, maybe put some strawberries on it, I don't know, M&Ms, whatever, right? You can put your own little touch to it and you just bring it out. Just bring it out, okay? Alright, so we definitely jumped, but get my point. Go back to our kick here. Now I like the way this kick sounds. However, still some things I kind of hear that I don't like. So we don't have to do too much of an extreme, okay? This right here. Sounds like this, okay? So I drag this up more. Kind of get what I'm saying. It just sounds like this, like, hey, hello, how are you doing? Okay, this is boxy area, okay? There's not really too much going here. Low end, high end information, frequency information, just don't exist, okay? Or almost doesn't exist. There's not enough there to where it sounds right. Like you're not getting like a complete or like a full anything. It's just there's this like emptiness to it. We don't like this, okay? So in taking this out, what it'll do is tighten the sound. Okay, so if you got a kick, it's playing, and you're looking to get like a tighter kick. You have a snare, it's playing. You're looking to get a tighter snare. Find that boxy area, because that's where the problem is, and then cut it. And once you cut it, all right. Let's see. It's about 1.3. And I like the clarity that we're getting right here. It's kind of like a nice little snap to it. Okay. done. All right. There's nothing else that we want to do to that. We're not gonna add any like compression to the individual kick or anything. I actually like how that sounds, so there's no need to do anything else. A lot of people get kind of caught up in, well, there's a kick and somebody did this, that, and the other to it. Um, yeah, not all the time are you gonna want to do that, but if you're trying to achieve a certain sound and you're not getting it from that kick, and you're just like, okay, I did this, I did this, I did this, but it still sounds like, in the context of everything else, like something it's not, you know, it's not punching or it's not, then you have other tools that you can do to try and shape it and get it to sound the way you want to, right? Just because you have a kick doesn't mean it's always going to need EQ and a compressor and a stereo widener. Like it doesn't call for all that. So yeah, use your ear, use your judgment. No, I'm doing this. This is what we're going for. Am I achieving it? If yes, then if you don't have anything else on there, don't. If you're listening to the kick and you're like, this kick is actually cutting through and is doing so really nicely, I don't need a boost anywhere. Don't do it, right? If you're getting the results that you want, don't mess it up by thinking you have to do something, okay? All right. All right, so here's our snare. Now, with our snare, we don't need snare down here, right? Really? Really? Okay, so we're gonna cut that out. It's not needed. It's up a little bit. And we're gonna push it to about 100. Okay. A few reasons why this is good. One, most snares somewhere after 100 hertz is where you're going to start getting the bass of the snare in the first place, right? So okay. And then two, when we're talking about the low end, okay, leaves room, okay, as much room as we can for that. And then also, because our kick usually somewhere between like 70 90 hertz is where we're gonna boost the kick, is where we're looking for the punch in the kick at. So by starting at 100 and just rolling it off, you make room for the kick to be unbothered by the snare. Okay, so now the kick, we made room so that the bass is unbothered, the super low end of the bass. Then the snare we rolled off, right, to make room so that the kick can come through unbothered. And then of course the bass, because the kick is unbothered, right? You see how we're just kind of layering, this like overlapping stuff is happening here. Yeah. Alright. Same thing, I'm gonna do low pass. So this is about 6K. Okay, so we're losing the clarity in our snare. Back up. Okay. This is about 9K. And we're fine here. Try and see if we can squeeze a little more out of it. Alright, so again, we got stuff that lives down here. That stuff is cool. Alright, kick here. Now we have these things. These are the loudest sounds in our beat, right? The kick, the snare, the bass. If we have vocals, then fine, vocals will be the fourth loudest thing. Okay? So the fact that we got all these things kind of playing together sounds clean, and then we can still hear our high end up here, we're in good shape. Okay. So I like this snare. It sounds a little too thin. Okay. Boost this up just a little bit. Like I said, somewhere gotta find that sound where just there's not too much going on there. You see it, but when you scroll over it, not so much. Okay, so we're gonna pull that down. Now you get this nice tight snare. Okay, but with taking this out, okay, right here. All right. In doing that, it kind of, because it sounds tighter, we kind of need to add or boost in the high frequency somewhere just to give some more like bite to it. Okay, so now you can hear a little, right? Then you hear that you lose some of it, but the sound does sound cleaner. Okay, so what we're gonna do is make up for that. Okay, so I'm at about 2.8, probably like 2.5, but it's okay. Okay, we're not trying to be perfect. So at about 2.8, we're gonna boost that a little bit, and we're getting some of that snap. Okay, some of that like attack out of the snare. All right, so all right, cool. This there's a second snare, and now that I think about it, I was having an idea for like a breakdown. I don't know if we call it a breakdown, all right, but there'd be a part of the song where like there's no snare, and usually when there's not like a snare, you might hear like some kind of a clap or a snap. Okay, it's an alternative. This it does sound like there's some sort of a clap in it, but I could also right, you can also kind of hear there's a snare in there, right? Ever so slightly, but the clap is also there. So when we get to that point, right, we can have something else kind of come in for that moment. I haven't added that, so we're gonna skip it. Okay, and let's turn this back on. Whoa, didn't mean to make it that big. All right, let's go here. I have that right. There we go. All right, so Like I said, stuff like this lives up here, so it's a good thing we made that room, right? Whoops. So this I can already tell. Okay, this has already been done. It's already been shaped. Okay, a lot of times hats they'll usually have a little rumble, like low end rumble down here, and then you want to go and clean that out and kill that bass, right? To you're just hearing the rest of the hat playing, right? But this is already done, right? So the only thing we could do is like butcher this. So what I'm gonna do is just back it up, okay? And I already like how they already low pass into this as well, but follow suit just a little bit. Okay. So we're gonna do that. And we're just shaving off like a little bit of it. We're not really doing anything to it. Okay. I like how this sounds. When it comes to hats, I typically don't like trying to boost them. Maybe that's something you want to do. You can. You don't have to. But the hats are so energetic that I've learned just high pass, low pass, leave them the hell alone. Alright? Just leave them alone. That's all you gotta do. Put the volume back where you had it if you lose anything, and you're good to go. Alright, this might be a little harder to catch because it doesn't come in as often. There we go. Alright, so here you can see what I mean now, right? A lot of low end stuff here. Definitely up here on the higher frequencies. That makes for a much more harsh sound, okay? So, okay. So you can hear, hold on. Right, as we get up here to like 650, start to lose that low end rumble that was in the hats, okay? Say 600 is fine, okay? So now you're not really seeing that, okay? Here, bam. And then again, whoops. Start losing the clarity, let's back it up some. Leave that about 12. We're at minus 21, 4. We might can back up that just a little bit. Okay, cool. So put everything back. Oh, I keep forgetting to turn this off. Okay, sounds nice, sounds clean. Alright, next sound. Yeah. Doing the hats still like the easiest thing really to do. Just high pass, low pass. And the rest of that, We ain't even worried about it. What is this? Ah, we're in the wrong one. We do want to do this, but not yet. That one's a little different. EQ wise. Okay, so okay, about 550. Great. Once we get to about 10K, you start to lose it. Take it to about 14. That's fine. I'm fine with that. Put it at 13. Sounds good right there too. Okay, so we have this as opposed to, okay, so let me turn that up for you so you can hear like all that harshness from these higher frequencies, and then when we cut into that, sounds a whole lot much more pleasing to the ear, right? So you can imagine this being turned up, and when this crash cymbal, okay, all that harsh stuff we cut out, but we didn't cut into it so far where we couldn't make out that cymbal hitting, right? We didn't lose the clarity on that, right? So that's good. Put it back to where we had it. Okay, and hold on. Did I not add it here either? I guess not. I did. So that'll be another thing I gotta get in. So I gotta get in this this other snare. Okay. And then we gotta get in so the ride cymbal. Well, not other ride cymbal, but the ride cymbal. Alright, so for now, we'll just skip those. So we got everything else is done, and then we got things routed here. So now for our drums, going to add a bit of saturation, and I like this because it's kind of already set up to do what I'm trying to do here. Doubt it. Alright, so adding some work to the drums, adding some upper harmonics to the drums as well, the snare and stuff, just kind of bring it out. Essentially, what saturation is doing is it's adding energy. Okay, so it's just exciting the frequencies. All right, so you know, right? When you get the energy and it's oscillating at a higher frequency, right? When it's sitting there and it's just back and forth like really fast, something else that's not that's not moving as fast as it or faster than it, what happens? It cut right through, okay? So all we're doing is exciting the energy. We're getting it to oscillate faster, okay? And in return, it just cuts through everything just a little bit better, all right? I do want to, however, come in here. So we're soloing out bands. That's the wrong one. Sure. Actually, we should do it this way. So, about right here, okay? We want to pick up those very high frequencies, and then we want to kind of pick up here where our kick and our snare is. Over here, we're not too worried about the sub, right? We don't care about those sub frequencies. So after 60, we pretty much dropped it. Why? Because we have bass. So we're not trying to take our drums and boost in the same place we just cut so we can make room for the bass. All right. All right, now if you want to drive any of these bands individually, you can. Right? Oh, that's it. Okay. So the more red it gets, you're driving it. Okay, the signal. So we'll get some warmth out of our low end here. I'm not interested in doing anything with this, so we can just cut that. And then over here, you don't want to do too much because it's nasty, right? That sounds nasty, right? So when you're dealing with higher frequencies, a little goes a long way. That starts sounding bad right there. That's fine. Take a look. So we're between -6, -9. As you can see here, we're pretty much peaking -6. So we're gonna take our I'm trying to say makeup gain, and let's turn it down to we're back where we had it. Okay. Boom. Now we can bypass. We're gonna hear or see this thing at the same volume, but we'll always be able to hear the changes we made. Okay. Because sometimes we think because it sounds louder, that means it's better. Okay, so by bringing these things to the same volume, when we bypass, okay, back and forth, off and on, the only thing we're hearing are the changes we made because the volume levels are always going to remain the same. Okay, so we can really actually sit there and listen and go, does this sound good? Like, is this the right thing to do? Right? So. So again, saturation is just adding that little bit of excitement to get your drums to cut through and actually be heard. You hear it in the closed hats and stuff, right? Definitely hear it a little more. So cool. And then the last thing we're gonna do is bread. compression. Okay, so I did see something where I guess when you're wanting to compress for your drum bus, some don't shoot me. Okay, um, some were saying if you want to do something like settle, you could do more of like a 4-to-1. But anytime you're dealing with a drum bus, people are like 10-to-1. You do 10-to-1 on your drum bus, and that's something I've always been doing. So I'm gonna stick to that. But I thought I'd give you that info just in case maybe you're like, well, you know what, I'm kind of sick of this, and maybe sometimes when I do 10-to-1, I feel like I've ruined it. So let me take that and try 4-to-1 and see what I get. Maybe the drums I have hit really, really hard, and I want it like that. And I want to add some compression, but I don't want to just compress the living daylights out of it. Well, there you go, light bulb moment. You got you got something else you could try. All right. Um, but essentially, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get our drums to sound a bit more consistent. Okay. Um, so you've heard compression uh, takes the louder sounds, the peaks, right? And it brings it down. Okay, and then it makes the quieter peaks louder. There's a two-part process to that, but essentially, yes. So when we're doing the compression is taking the peaks and is pushing it closer to the floor where those lower peaks are. Okay. Um, in return, when you're doing that, you lose volume. So you have to do what? You have to turn the volume back up because you have to make up the gain, right? That you lost. So in return, low peak, high peak, compression, okay? You have to make up gain to bring this back to be at the same level. So the lower peaks actually get louder as you go to turn it back up. Okay, so in doing this, if our kick is just and our snare is just right, and our hats are playing but they're lower, right, we can take compression, take these louder parts, push them down just a little bit more, right, a little bit closer to where those hats and things are, then bring the volume back, and now you have a more consistent drum sound. Okay, but what we don't want to do is push it so far down where we start losing the dynamics between the high and the low. Okay, because then it starts sounding kind of robotic. Okay, so you don't want something like this. Can we take it back up? Okay, if I turn this back up to about where we had it, you're listening to this. Now the hats are starting to sound about as loud as it's just it's not a good feeling. And we didn't even do this, so you're getting kind of like this pumping sound here. Okay, so we just balance that out real quick. It sounds really bad. Okay, so don't go too far with it. As a general rule, okay, you don't want to go past -6 decibels of attenuation, aka compression. Okay, once this gets over this, you'll start hearing that squashed sound, right? And then it just gets more and more apparent, right? So, as a general rule, don't cross it. Push it as far as you want. Just don't go by that -6. Now, in certain cases, okay, we're trying to do that parallel compression, that NY compression. Okay, yeah, you're gonna completely squash it. Okay, but there's a purpose for that. Um, outside of that, no, please don't hurt yourself like that. All right, You want to keep the dynamics in your drums, and with the parallel compression, it's alongside this. So this, you have one copy that has all its dynamics and everything, and then you have another copy that's completely squashed, and then you're taking this completely squashed version and you're bringing it up just enough to where it starts to kind of blend, and you can hear that sound kind of blending in with the original signal. Okay, so it's not like they're squashing it and they're just turning the volume up on it. No, they're doing it just enough, and then they bring the fader, right, to just blend it in just enough to where they can get more of the low end, because after they squash it, they're going to EQ. They're going to EQ on the low side and on the higher side, okay? So when you hear those New York drums, you're like, man, those drums are just right? And you're just like, those drums just sound ridiculous and crazy, right? That's what it is, and that's how it's done. But in general, you don't want to do that to your drums. Now, if you're doing parallel compression, go for it. Okay, so let's back this up. So I don't want to do too much. Okay, again, we're just trying to bring this down a little bit more and get it to be just a little bit closer. So I guess we can kind of push it. Let's get about right to -6. Okay, cool. I'm gonna put the attack on like 3, somewhere between 3 to like 5 milliseconds is cool. We're not trying to do too much in terms of shaping it, but it does kind of help the higher the attack is to kind of bring out those transients. So we're listening. Okay, at the fastest it can go, the moment it crosses over the threshold, okay, you're gonna get compression, full on compression. The more we start to move this up, what it's telling the compressor is to wait X amount of milliseconds, okay? Let's say seconds, but wait X amount of milliseconds or X amount of time before fully compressing. So it doesn't just go, oh, I'm gonna wait after the thing crosses and then I'm gonna fully compress. What it does is it does a gradual compression, and the time that you have set, let's say it's 5 milliseconds, it'll take 5 milliseconds to achieve full compression. Okay. How do you know how to set the compression? Well, that's going to depend on what you're looking for. So let's say you have a kick or a snare or something and you're looking to make that snare kind of pop. Okay, you can take your attack, slowly dial it, because when it's on fast, the whole sound's getting compressed. It's just full on compression at the very moment it crosses. You slowly turn this up and you're going to hear it. Just pay attention, and you're going to get to a point where you're going to hear the snare come out. It's going to sound just as clean as it did before you put the compression on it. That's where you stop, right? So for a lot of sounds like kicks and snares and things, once you reach like 5-6 milliseconds, you're actually going to hear the snare like boom, and you're gonna be like, okay, that's it. It's letting just that little bit of the transient in the beginning of it through, and then the rest of it gets the full compression. Okay, so it's just making the thing like pop and ring out. With other sounds, you can use that technique as well. You got a piano or something, you're compressing it, just get the attack, just start slowly moving it. There's going to be a point where when you hear that note, bing, the note's going to ring out clear as day. That's it. Okay, your 808s, anything, it's the same, it works the same, right? That's how that is. So but for this, we're not so much trying to get that. Again, we're trying to control the dynamics and get it a bit more glued. So putting it like 3, even 4, so just slightly under what would normally, okay, allow some of the like transients to come through, kind of help to keep the peaks down, because we're letting the transients through, then the peaks aren't really coming down, are they? So put it on 3. Okay, so you can see we're getting that control. That's bringing it lower. Okay, down to this stuff, but not too it's still louder. Okay, and then 100 milliseconds. Okay, on the release, that's just how long it takes for the compressor to go off, to turn off. So once the signal dips back under, then it takes 100 milliseconds or a tenth of a second, okay, before it shuts off. The longer it gets bad because, right, this goes all the way to 2000 milliseconds or 2 seconds. So it takes 2 seconds for it to turn off, which means once this hits and the next sound comes in to hit, the compression, even though it may not be over, it's still on because it takes 2 seconds to go all the way back to off. And so anything else that's playing is also going to get fully compressed, and it's not going to get the same love, right? It's not going to get the same respect as the last sound that hit and crossed the threshold, right? It's just all of it, just compress, 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 and that makes it sound bad, right? See, it's not even getting all the way done with the compression, and it's already, right? And then anything else that's not actually going and affecting the compressor is getting pushed down as well, right? So you can see as I start to move this, volume of that stuff starts coming back up, right? That's what you want to avoid. So typically 100 milliseconds is good for a lot of different sounds or anything you may have playing, right? But there may be some cases where, hey, maybe there's something that's just really, really, really busy, and you want that compressor to be a little bit faster, the release time. Or you may have something where it's slower and you're holding the note or something, and maybe you want that compression to last a little bit longer, on the tail end of things before something else comes in, and then you can make it longer, or slower. But that's going to be dependent on what you're using, what sound you're working with, the tempo of your song, etc. But 100 is pretty good. Okay, good starting place. And of course we launched this all the way to the moon. So let's get this between 6 and 9. All right, so what we did was we added excitement to our drums, and then we got it a little more consistent. Okay, we kind of closed the gap between the lower and the higher dynamics of this particular signal. Okay, so bam, now we got a little bit more consistency in our drums. We're not hearing the kick go boom and the snare's like crack, and everything goes kind of like right, and it's just like this really big gap. We kind of close that gap a little bit more. Okay, so get something a little bit more even and a bit more consistent. And that's drums for you guys. So, like I said, when it comes to your drums, if you're looking for anything specific out of a particular sound, then go for it. But every time you go to pick a kick or a snare, it doesn't always require you to have to put compression on it. Sometimes the snare just comes out of the bag and it's just what you wanted. You just need to clean it up. That's what we do with EQ, right? We clean up the unwanted frequencies. We bring out things that sound good to us or whatever, right? And then when you're doing compression, again, that's kind of another way to shape your sound by doing certain things. Okay, maybe we want that kick to have a little bit more of a punch. Okay, so we'll put the compression, we'll adjust that attack time, let the transients come through so we can get that boom. Okay, and then compress the rest of that. We're not really that interested in that. Just turn the volume on that down. Let the compressor do that, and we can achieve something with it. If you're already getting the desired result, stop overdoing it. Okay, it's that simple. So, I love that there's a lot of content on YouTube and stuff about mixing and all that, but a lot of stuff is giving people headaches, and they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing. They're buying things they shouldn't be buying, and they don't understand the basics of the tools, EQ, compression, saturation, reverb, delay. If you can understand these, understand the parameters and what they do, get good at them, you can pretty much do whatever the rest of that stuff. That's like stuff you might use some of the time. But when we're talking about mixing, those are the things you're going to use all of the time, right? So if you get used to those 5, you can mix a track. You can make money. You can make your song sound good enough to put on Spotify or something without it sounding terrible. Okay, if you learn those 5 tools, all right? All right. Whoa! Here's that game sample. And what don't we need? Don't need this low end. Why? Okay, so we don't need the low end in this, okay, clashing with this. Okay, we can barely hear the guitar we added because the guitar in this, okay, and the drums and everything else, but we got our own stuff. So we're gonna cut in. And what I like to do when I'm dealing with samples, okay, to kind of keep the sample as full as possible, okay, I start at about 120 hertz. We're just gonna roll that off, okay? So why, you might ask? Well, what's at our low end? Bass, most likely, kick, snare, right? And judging, as our snare is probably the furthest up, okay? Since we boosted over here at about 179, so 180, okay? So somewhere around here, let's see, we're at 120, okay, 170 is about here. Okay, so you see how this rolls off? Even though we set it here to 120, the line still has to kind of slowly make this roll off. So even right here, it puts a dip. So when these things are playing, okay, the sample's not affecting the 3 loudest sounds in our beat, which is the bass, the kick, and the snare. Okay, bam, just like that, and we can still hear pretty much most of this, just not getting that super low end. Okay, we don't have to worry about that messing with anything. Then same thing here. We have things that live up here. So okay, the more room we make for this, cleaner and the better we can hear sounds that live up here, right? So when we get too far in, we start to lose that clarity. That's too far. Okay. Try and push up a little bit more. Okay. So now all this space is left for things that live up here, right? And for things that live down here. And you can still hear the sample. It's not that hard. It's not as hard as people make it to be. It's just when you pull these tools, you're like, well, I don't know what a knee is. I don't know what a band is or a cue is. Like these things, because it's all technical, right? And the explanations for them and all that might kind of like send your brain through orbit. Trust me, I've been there. As somebody who hasn't gone to school for this, has been doing this for about 20 years, I can definitely tell you there's a lot of trial and error, okay? But we persevered. I can tell you this is not as hard as you think. It's not as hard as you're making it to be, right? But once you understand it, and once your ears can hear it, this comes like clockwork, right? Once you understand what the tools are for, what you would use it for, like once you get that definition, that explanation, once you get that concept in your head, there's nothing somebody could tell you. They'll come out and be like, put the EQ on the house. You'll be like, excuse me? Instead of, okay, let's just put it on there and see. Like, because you already know what it does. You know what its function is. So somebody can't tell you to try and do something, and you'll think about it and be like, that's not what I'm trying to go for. This is what I'm trying to go for. And then if they don't know, then they don't know. But I've heard plenty of stuff. People are like, I do this to my vocals and then it makes it sound really great. And then they're just like, well, here's what I do. I take this EQ and I do this, and then, well, before I do that, I'm gonna put the compressor on here first, and then we're just gonna like, and you're just kind of like, right? And you see the comments, and they're just like, bruh, no, you're doing too much work. Like, you're doing too much work. Just re-record it. Like just certain stuff like that, right? And yeah, I've seen some stuff. I've been in YouTube on the comments. You might see me around. And some of that stuff, I'm just like, nah, man. I try to give out free game. Like, hey, look, as far as like mixing goes, hey, look, this is all you need to do, right? Why spend $60 for something that has a knob? You turn the knob and it does something. Now, for whatever specific purpose it was created for, it might do it. But what happens when it doesn't work for for like the same type of sound that you're using? You're not getting the effect. What do? Right? Crickets. Because you don't understand that plugin. You don't understand the tools that it's using to even generate that, right? You turn the knob. Okay, it sounds like the kick is, kind of getting a little more thump in the low end. Like, you're not understanding what tools are being automatically applied and what way as that knob is being turned. So then you put something on there and you go, well, this always does that. And you go to do it, and maybe that sound just didn't have a lot of low end information. It's not magic. It's not going, hey, put this kick with no thump in it and we can give it thump. It can't generate what's not there. You know what I'm saying? So again, learning the basic tools, it just makes you that much more valuable. Alright? That much more valuable. Alright, so we cut in about as far as we could on both sides. Now, what we could do, so what I like to do first is find all the bad stuff. That right there, we're finding this again, okay? So what are we gonna do? And that does what? It tightens up, okay? The sound that we got playing. I don't sound too bad across here, so we'll leave it alone. But it does sound bad about right here. So what we could do, I could make a dip here, Or we can just kind of move this over a little bit more and then widen this band so we pick up more. Okay. Okay. Now that we have that done, let's see what we good. Okay, so since we got rid of that, now we can come over here because we know it was sounding good here. Okay, we're finding bass down here. Or not so much bass, but like warmth, okay? And then up here, finding our clarity, okay? Not so much here. Sounds a lot better here, right? We're getting like more air and stuff from it. Okay. So I'm gonna boost about here. Actually, if we want, let's just move it like this a little bit. Put it like 2.5. Now, technically, this, even though there's some like warmth here, it's still kind of not really much because a lot of that warmth is down here and we've cut that off, okay? So I wouldn't do too much more to it because it would thin it out, right? But I'll probably drop it maybe a couple. And then same thing, leave more of like a bigger curve and then leave this like that, okay? So we're getting somewhere between -15, -18. Okay, and then we have our bass to fill in, right? Because again, we've already cut a lot of that bass out, and so once we put this back in, it's gonna make up for the lack of, okay? Okay, another thing about samples, okay? Again, kind of all depends on what you're going for. These songs have already been mastered. You're taking something that has already been finalized and sent out to the world to hear, right? For whatever source, games, film, whatever. This has already been done. It's already been mastered. It's already been mixed, everything. All we're doing is kind of manipulating this so that it fits into our mix well, okay, and with the things that we got going, and that's it. Do you have to go and add compression to something like this? No. Again, use your discernment, okay? Alright, and then we got one last little sound here. Alright. Again, the stuff down here, we don't hear, we don't care. Okay? But we're gonna clean it up. Because again, if we didn't clean it up, and we didn't clean up this other stuff, we'd have a whole bunch of sounds playing where the low end, okay, will start to kind of build up and some things will start being it will be fighting for attention, fighting to be heard, fighting for space, right? Okay, we can see, at least on our EQ here, right? In other instances, you won't be able to see, you just have to hear. But we could see about right here is where it's good, right? So, kind of hear the low end in that. We're just going till we cut it out. Okay, now that that's cut out, okay, -24. Now you can see here how we're kind of getting like uneven. Now for here, if you want to add some compression to keep the volume kind of consistent across the board, we can do that. All right, so what did it do? Disappear? There it is. So let's put it on the compression tab. We won't do anything too much, so put it on 3:1 for the ratio. And then we'll just slowly kind of push in so we get some movement. Okay, this is the compression taking place. About almost 3 decibels attenuation. Okay, let's go back. Push in a little more. And this is more of like a background thing, so okay, so we'll keep it more consistent. We're not looking for it to be totally even. We're gonna pan this anyway, so this is gonna break the unevenness. Okay, but all we're looking for is the volume of each time it hits to be a little more consistent. And so any of those that may be ringing out with a lower peak, okay, now it sounds more consistent across the board when it hits. Okay, and -24 we were, so let's take our gain. Too much. Let's put it at like 3. Take our release down to about 100. I did hear a bit of like a kind of like a pumping thing going on there, so okay. Perfect. All right, so let's go back. So once we have all of that stuff together, let's take this, and this, and let's put it, not make one. We did, and we didn't color it. So let's route them here. And this, I call final mix bus. You can call it a mix bus, whatever. And I want to keep it separate from my master track because I want to leave my master track for when it's actually time to master. Okay, we do have this limiter here because I wasn't mixing into it, but here, right? Let's say we're doing stuff on our master. We could always look here and see where we are in our mix. So our drum bus, these 3 sounds here, I I should have added these because when I do add them, we'll have the tags. So let's take these. We can route them here as well. So everything is essentially being routed here, and then from here, this goes here. So this is good for a couple of things as well. So say, for instance, you have a beat, and then you have somebody that's gonna come in and rap or sing over the beat that you made. Okay, this is now your beat. Okay, you can record vocals and have them in some other tracks, right? Maybe you got ad libs, whatever, and you get that all separated, and then you make a a subgroup or a bus for it, right? For the ad libs, all that stuff, and then you do some processing, whatever, right? You could then make another group, and that could end up being the bus, if you will. But for this, you could change it and just be like beat, and then where the vocals are, say you boost the vocals at, I don't know, 160, and maybe also boost it over at 2K. Okay, then you can come over to your beat because everything is running to this one track, and now you can go ahead and add EQ. You can put those dips there where those vocals would be. Okay, and now it seems like the vocals sit on top of the beat. Okay, it's just another something you can do. Versus if you didn't do that, you would be trying to pick what sounds or sound is actually not allowing for you to the vocals to sit, and that could be pretty time consuming trying to figure that out. Whereas once you know the beat is already together, it's blended and all that, if the vocals in some areas are having trouble sitting, then all you have to do is slightly drop in those places that you boosted or you want the vocals to be present or sit in front, and problem solved, right? So, a few reasons why you would want to do this. You may name this something different, but since we don't have vocals, this is our mix bus here. And there, if I wanted to come in and do something, add a bit more, take away, that's kind of much, right? But just showing you, right? There's just different things you can do to the whole of everything. And like I said, if you did have vocals that were going to be on top of this that you're going to add, then you have a whole separate subgroup, a whole separate bus with just the beat, where it's easy to go in and make those adjustments to the whole of it, right, to let those vocals sit. Alright, also, if you want to make any last minute changes, I don't know, maybe you want to whatever, right? Whatever you do here is going to affect everything. Maybe you want to add some compression to maybe give this a bit more consistency, right? Catch anything that might be kind of spiking, maybe you're getting, it's still bouncing up or something like that, and you're not getting a consistent hit at your ceiling. Okay, so it may be like going here and then you might get a jump and then it goes back down. You may want to use compression to kind of catch that and make it more consistent, right? So shall we? I'm going to use this bad boy instead of EQ, compression, whatever. It's all right here. This is something that's been out for quite some time now, before all the rage about AI and stuff. So this is it's basically it's an algorithm kind of running the show here for these different knobs, and so you can get like no distortion out of this thing whatsoever. Right? It just sounds really good. So this controls your low, right? Sub. This controls the high end air. And then this controls the high end, but this is compression. And then this controls the low end. It's compression here. So we can dial these in. This is letting us know how optimal the signal is coming in. So if it's too loud of a signal, you'll start to get red, right? If it's too low, it'll start being like green, but you want it like yellow, orangish. That's good. So we can drive this input either up or down depending on what we need. And then once that's there, this is linked to the output. So even though we're making changes, you're not going to hear a change because whatever we're doing is being done in the opposite, being done in the opposite way on the other end. So start. It's not bright red, right? That's what we're trying to avoid, the bright red. So this kind of like orangish color is fine. That's fine. And then before we start that, now that we have everything, we've edited, blah, 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 right? What we can do now is we can actually start moving these bad boys here, okay? So to note, for every 1 decibel, you move your fader, be it up or down. You're going to, it accounts for 3 decibels of perceived volume. So if you drop it by 1, then there's 3 decibels of perceived volume that you lose, okay? So good practice is drop it by 1 dB or raise it by 1 dB, whatever you're going to do it by a decibel, and then listen and see if that's it. Does it feel like it sits in with the rest of everything? Does it seem like it's still too loud? If it's still too loud, drop it another decibel. If it's too low, raise it another decibel. The thing with getting it right in the beginning is because when you try and raise it, it doesn't go up as far as it goes down, right? You got way more room this way than you do this way. You only got, what, 6 dB, I believe? That's 5, so yeah, 6. It only goes up 6 dB, but you can take this down like minus 30, 40, 50, okay, before it goes to infinite. So try and get the things as loud, right, but not too loud, right, but get them as loud as you can and all that, and then all you have to do is worry about is dropping the volume, okay, till everything kind of sits. So for one, I know this is loud. We did all that, didn't we? And I skipped over the bass. That's a damn shame. It really is a shame. But we'll get to it in a second. Hold on. I don't know how that happened, but I just noticed that. I was like, wait a minute. Why is there only an EQ on this bass guitar? What just happened? don't ask how we just like, I don't know, my brain went somewhere. We like completely messed up, didn't we? We really did. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what was going on. But I told you, man. Before we started this, I definitely was not in a so I'm like, wait a minute, hold on a second. Like something ain't. Let me double check some things. Alright, so here. Jeez. Okay, so we got this bell. Sounds nice. Okay, we clean out our that low end, that like low end rumble from it, and all of that. We made some room here. Now, right here, we're getting some clarity. Okay, so found a sweet spot for this. However, when this is playing, and because we have this boosted, so one thing to note when we're doing EQ, right? And may not have really thought about it, but here it is. Um, you are essentially looking at a stage, okay? But you're looking at this stage from the top down, okay? When we boost frequencies, we are pushing those frequencies, or let's say we're pushing said sound to the front of the stage, okay? So it is being perceived by the audience to be louder, right? It's gonna sound louder to them because it's closer to them. Whereas when we cut, okay, we're bringing things down, we're pushing it to the back of the stage, okay? We're looking at this from the top down, okay? So we're pushing it down, we're moving it back. It's going to, things are going to sound quieter to the audience because it's further back, right? And that sounds travel further to get to the listener. So think about it like that, okay? This sounds good solo. This is not going to sound good with the rest of everything. Right? Because now these bells are louder. And this being kind of our center point, right? Is now being overshadowed, it's being drowned out by this. Okay? So what are we going to do? We need this sound to play in the back. We need to play behind this sound. So what are we going to do? As good as this may sound solo, we're going to cut it. Okay, it's going to give the illusion that this sound is now playing in the background. See what I'm saying? Alright, look, again, I don't have any degrees or anything. There's a lot of trial and error in philosophy, but all I'm trying to tell you is once you learn how this stuff works, you can never unlearn it. You can never forget it. You can never unhear it. You can never unsee it, okay? Works just like that. So now, and it still sounds like this is being, like, it's sitting behind whatever, even though it is a little louder, right? It doesn't sound like it's trying to throw itself in front. And this is how you want to kind of look and think about things when you're EQing. Okay, so next time you decide to throw on that nice brass, okay, think about it. If we were on a stage, where would the brass be? You find those sweet spots, what are you gonna do? You thank me later, okay? Push it to the background. Push it to the background, you will thank me later. Because brass gets loud very quickly. Just because it sounds good in solo, to boost it doesn't mean it needs to be boosted. Okay? Think about the rest of the song. Think about the stage and where things are going to be. Plan accordingly. Okay? Minus 24. Just drop it a little more. Oh, okay, I keep pushing it forward. so now we at least have that together. And then this again. I'm so sorry. We moved, we jumped, we did something, and it was wrong. All right. But here we're not gonna do too much to this for the simple fact that again, most of the stuff has been run through complete control here. Okay, so you can see like we have access to all that, the EQ, everything is done right here. So it's not like I need to go here and do too much here and add all that since it's already being added here. But we still want to, we still want to clean this up. So. Okay, so here, this is for our kick. So there's a lot of activity here. We might, it's down about 4. I would like to do more, so I'm gonna put a high pass here. I'm gonna put this at about 32. And the reason being is when you're dealing with the sub frequencies, it does not take much before it gets out of control in sub frequencies. Okay, when you're messing with these frequencies that you can't really hear but you can feel, it doesn't take much volume. Okay, you don't have to boost it very much for it to get out of control, and you're going, well, what's going on? Like, why is it just like uncontrollable, right? That's usually going to be a sub frequency issue. Most when we're talking about modern speakers and stuff, unless you spent a grip, okay, $1,000, 800, something like that, high end, okay, and we're talking about for a sub, you're not going to really pick up these frequencies down here, 20 hertz to 32 hertz, okay. So we're going to trim that, and a lot of modern speakers, okay, after about 40, your speakers ain't registering that, okay. So you'll get a lot of advice to just cut at 40, right? It's not bad, and the only thing you can do is tighten up your low end, okay. It's not bad, but again, for those who actually have the money, high-end subs and systems, they could pick up and enjoy those sub frequencies, but you still don't want to just let your sub frequencies go unruly, okay. So even if you don't do anything here, as soon as you send it to a mastering engineer, you know what's gonna happen. Trying to help you out there, all right. I'm trying to help you out, especially a lot of songs. If you take some of your favorite songs and just throw them in your program, and then just take an EQ, a visual EQ, and look, a lot of times from about 15K, they just cut that completely off too. So you get a chop here, and then you get like a roll off here, or they might put like a low shelf and just push down, right? Maybe about 3 to 6 dB. They'll just push it down so they don't completely get rid of it, which is why I got this at 32, right? It just goes all the way down to about 20, then past that it'll completely go all right. But they cut at about 15, okay, and then about that 32, 40, kind of depends, right? That's also it's leaving, okay. So don't sit here and act like you got to keep everything in the frequency spectrum, because the moment you go to get that song mastered, a lot of this stuff here and here is getting cut. You're not even going to hear that no more, okay. So we do that to tighten up those sub frequencies, okay. Right here sounds kind of good. Okay, we're at about 500. You can probably move it over to like 4. can still pick that up because it starts to roll off right here anyway. So if you want, you can boost it here if you're trying to hear a little better. You don't feel like it's coming through all the way. Like a little more audible. Kind of hear that coming through. Yeah, you can just boost it a little bit just so that kind of sticks out. Yo, Mark Guy in the building. Appreciate you stopping by. How you doing this evening? Alright, got a little dip right here. And then, oh, I guess we can just drag this if you want. Okay, this is over like 50, 40 hertz. If you want to boost this a little bit or something, okay, you can go for it. It's up to you, right? If you want to do that, but honestly, especially as being like a guitar, like it doesn't need to be super bassy, okay? Maybe I feel a little different about it later or something and be like, well, let me just couple dB, whatever, right? We could definitely do that, but really all I'm wanting to do is clean this up because again, all of our work has been done here, okay, through different tools and things here, so we're not too worried about applying that here. That effects chain's already there, okay, so we're just cleaning it up, bringing it out a little bit. Now we have everything done, okay, so sorry about the jumping around stuff. Now let's do this, okay. Okay, now let's go over here. All right. So all we're looking for is just, we got this about as balanced as we can get it. Now we're just gonna kind of fine tune the whole of this track. Okay. Let's keep it over a little bit. Okay, and then let me swap this one out for this one. I'm gonna set the ceiling to -1, and we're using True Peak here. Okay, and then. Another one.
This is another Ibron production.
Legion of Tunes.
Another one. And then I'll work on like the arrangement. Y'all already know, but this will be another one. All right, so we're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, we're doing this for the community. Let's go. So we're gonna have some different things in the mix here. Okay, I'm putting myself. Okay, it's pressure. I'm putting myself to the test, okay? And we'll get up here and we'll try and make these things, okay? Live, blank slate. Y'all can send in requests, okay? You could be like, hey, I like that. I don't know. There was a level in Mario I really like. I'll at least on stream, we'll try and figure something out. If we can't, hey, look, I'm not here to force it. I'm not here to say I can take anything and make anything. I'm just saying, if I could do it, I will. Okay? Got Killer Instinct out here sounding supreme. Okay? They're not ready for that, alright?
This is another Ibron production.
Power Rangers. I'm just saying, if we can do it, we'll do it. I'm just saying, if we can do it, we're doing it. Sonic and Knuckles, okay? This is Dr. Robotnik's time to shine. Let's go. They're not ready. They're not ready, okay? So once we get them all mixed together and all that, sounding extra crispy, I put them on YouTube. Y'all can feel free to use these background for your streams. Feel free to use the music for the videos you put out on social media. Let's go. We've been making some bangers, okay? Streets Rage 2, let's go. Da-na-na-na-na. Let's go. They're not ready for that. Oh no, it got cut off. Oh, that's right. I know what I did. I know what I did now. Hold on. Wait. There we go. Yakuza like a dragon. They're not ready. Okay? And I'm not asking you to get ready. They're not ready for that. Absolutely not ready. Could we stand on that? They're not ready for it. They're not ready for it at all, alright? Not ready for it at all. Mega Man 3. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely not ready. But we'll let them say what they want, you know? Let them feel some kind of way. So yeah, I can't wait. And then some of y'all out there is like, yeah, well, it's just sampling, Shh. Cause this ain't a sample.
This is another hit.
Shout out to Complete 14. Let's go. Ooh, you wish you had horns that sounded that good. Alright, I do originals also, okay? But what we doing for the community, that's something different, okay? Don't play. Don't play. You gotta just change it like. Oh, they thought it was over? They thought it was over? They're not ready. They're not ready. They're not ready. I do what I want. I do what I want. Who gonna stop me?
Another hit. Ron production.
Nasty. Let's go. They thought it was over again, didn't they? They're not ready. Not ready. Not ready. I might do this. I might do this. Shout out to Grimes, hashtag bomb on top. Okay. Emphasis on the hashtag, multiple hashtags, okay? This is his intro, outro for his stream. There's no samples. We out here wilding out, I'm trying to tell you. And I got plenty more stuff. So, what you see me doing, don't get it twisted, okay? Community, and say, hey, we like the stuff you're doing. You know, a couple years ago when I started doing this, and we did the originals, okay? They weren't the greatest, but hey, I was just in my bedroom, okay? Shout out to the music industry, trying to take out the streamers to stop them from playing the music. Okay, it only motivated me, and now here we are. We get nasty with it. Come on. Another one. Shout out to Indie Soul. Okay. I made this one for him.
This is another Ron production.
So, once again, let them talk what they talk. Because they ain't ready for that. They ain't ready for that.
This is another
They're not ready for it. Never was, alright?
Legion of Tunes.
Don't want no problems. But you know, shh. We just gonna keep it humble, okay? We not saying nothing. We just doing our thing. Learning, we growing. That's all there is to it. And we do got some other stuff here. I actually have some stuff that I pulled out of it's not here. It's not here. But here it is. I had to make a folder. So I got stuff here that I'm also going to work on reviving. This is stuff that this might not actually play actually. Damn. I just realized that. Here, let's. I don't have to save changes. I thought I already saved the. Hold on. Let me just let it. I was trying to stop it before this error came. But I think we're gonna have to let it just go. Oh, what? Okay, now I'm shocked. All right, here we go. Yo, this is a really, really old one. And I keep trying to tell people, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. All right, I had to top my mess. Do you... Oh, because I came in here and I saved it. Jeez. I was going to say, do you see the date modified? Okay, these are old. Okay, which means the last time I made any changes, yes, I was in here earlier, but all of this stuff that I'm bringing in is like 2009, 2008. This was stuff I tried to do back. Okay, so I keep saying while everybody was crate digging, okay, I was trying to figure out how to do this video game stuff. Okay, and a lot of it came from, I wasn't using like actual WAV files. A lot of it was MIDI files. And once I found that, I was like, what? And that kind of changed my life. Okay. And I went from there. But again, so this is old. So it's going to sound terrible. But however, this could be redone.
This is another
Look at this. Oh, this is wrong. This is so bad right here. But let's listen, okay? All we're gonna do is go and we're gonna fix this. Hold on, where's that coming from? Is that this? No, that's not that. Where is that? That's actually from this. So what I would need to do is actually come in here. This sounds so terrible. Oh, I see. I see what my mistake was. Okay, instantly better. Okay. And then I have two parts. So this was an idea I had where it's kind of chopped up like this. Okay. And I had other instruments and stuff coming in here, which we can do. I got better brass and stuff. It'll blend in with this really nicely. I'm loving this idea right here. But, you know, say somebody was like, I don't like it this way. Well, this is kind of the straightforward way, right? This is another Mega Man track. I love Mega Man, so. But yeah, I can come back and redo stuff like this. Easy to redo. Okay. This is from Street Fighter. I forget which one. But I want to redo this as well because it has potential. Uh-oh. Like I said, this is older stuff. FL21 is kind of a pain, so, but let's and I think this is, let's see, something like this. I know what's going on with this. Something sounds off about it, and I don't know what it is. What is this? And why is there? I see. Something still sounds off though. Okay, this is stuff I can go back and redo. That's why I always say, no matter if your idea is good or bad, whether you finish it or not, keep it, because it's your idea, right? Sometime down the line, you're going to get some kind of an idea, right? to where you can complete it, or maybe it was, the missing, kind of that missing piece. And you could always go back and you could always redo what you have, right? Even if it requires you to completely change out the sounds, like the idea is still there, the notes you played are still there, like swap it out, whatever, right? But it's your work, so keep it because it's your work. It's like you can't stress it enough. It's your work, right? So keep that stuff, you know. Um, but yeah, I got a lot of that stuff. I got a lot of like original stuff, and I got bored the other day and just went through and I was just listening. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I can add this kind of to what I'm doing, fix it up, whatever. But that's just more stuff that essentially I could add. All right. So yeah, that's no. Uh, which one was it? Which one was it? Okay, then it goes. That's what I want. It goes like that. Here, like that. And then it switches. I'm learning my 2-5-1s, all right? It's like a little warm up, and it takes you through all of the 2-5-1s. That's part one. There's still another part with the 2-5-1s, and I don't have that memorized yet, all right? But we're getting more and more familiar with it. I guess before I go, here's something you could try. Okay, so I'm trying to teach myself jazz. All right, I know teaching myself sounds like a pain, and it is. There's a warm up you could do. It's called drone improvisation. All right, and the way it works is, let's say we're doing C major. So in your left hand, you're gonna have your C and G, and you're just gonna, right? You can change this up if you want to, right? But it's just. right? And you do that for like 10 minutes, whatever. What I thought was, that's kind of boring. I can't lie. Like waking up every day just to do one thing for like 5 or 10 minutes. Don't get me wrong, I understand it. I'm not knocking it. But it gets boring after a while. So what I decided is for the 10, 15 minutes that we practice, okay? Then I go from major to minor. Why? Because your 1 and your 5 isn't going to change, right? It's the third that makes it major or minor, right? So right, and then right? So I do a major and then I do a minor. And then move it up a semitone. Right? Then you go into minor. And you go up another. Right? Then you go into minor. Well, because the third, right? That's, and then that's your minor, right? So whenever I do the switch, I like to start on the third. So when we're doing the major, then I go. And we're just hitting notes, right? It doesn't really matter whether it sounds good or not. This is an improv, and the purpose of it is to get used to, as you're playing the chord, just pressing. Because in jazz, you got a lot of inversions and things like that, right? So you might play, I don't know, you might play a 4/5 or something like that. It's not going to be, oh, I played a D in the left hand, so that means there's a D chord in the right hand, right? You could get something where, like, okay, I'm playing the A in my left hand, and then I'm playing the D, right, chord. And you might get something like that. You know what I'm saying? So the warm up is to get you familiar with just the different colors, how it sounds as you're playing, right? It's the droning, right? Right? And you just get used to it, and then you just, because you already have that 1 and 5, up a semitone, up a semitone, of a semitone, right? And it starts taking you into keys you might not be too familiar with, like this, okay? Right? And as you do this warm up, if you do it the way that I'm doing it, basically within the 15 minutes, you'll go from every key, right? Major and minor. Well, you'll go through every key and then you'll go through every scale and major and minor, or every major and minor scale in those 12 keys. And then by the end of it, you're done, right? This gets you used to the scales, right? Playing the scales. It also gets you used to hearing those different scales and what kind of emotion that may evoke, okay? And then it also kind of gets you used to two, right? Playing with both hands. So if you're a very beginner, you could start with C major, okay? And your droning doesn't have to kind of like what I'm doing, but in jazz, you know, it's a lot of that kind of stuff. Right? So you can make it slower. Right? Another easy one will be A minor because it's all the white notes just from A to A, right? So again, right? Boom. All right. So that's some stuff you could do. All right. Other easy keys would be like G major. Wait, huh? Why? Cause G major only has one black key. That's it, right? So it's all the white notes and too high up. Whoops. This is the only note you gotta worry about. Right? Right? So, F major would be another one, right? So the only black key you have to worry about is this one. So it's some white notes. Right? So you can okay, so those are like ones you can kind of move into as you start getting more comfortable. So you can start with like C major because it's. Then you can start with A minor because. Okay, then you can go. Okay, well, let's try one of these black keys. Okay, you can move to G major because you're. Okay, you can try F major. Right? And then, the further you go, then the more. Can I say that? I don't think that's a good thing to say. So, not that it's that bad, but it's just. Oh man, y'all gotta. Hey, look, I got jokes, but sometimes those jokes should just be for me. All right. All right, so yeah, nothing to it. It's just a pattern. As long as you know the pattern, then right. As long as you know the pattern, you're just gonna keep right. You can go. That's all the major stuff. And while you're practicing, you don't have to worry about whether you're perfect at knowing it. As long as you know what the major scale sounds like, then you could play something that you're not entirely familiar with. Like, let's say I wanted to play. So let's say we wanted to play this. As long as you know what it sounds like, you can just always kind of poke it out. Okay, so there's a minor scale. So that's you call this an E flat minor because you don't have there's no D in here. So unless you're gonna count this, but then so you can call this like a sharp. You can call this D sharp minor. And now you have a scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As long as you can count that, now you can play those notes here. Right? Completely different sound now. Something you can tinker around with. As long as you know what that sounds like, it doesn't matter what key you press. And just play it a few times till you kind of get built into your head. Then you pick out the 1. That's the 5, right? Also, Google helps too. You're like, hey, what's the A major scale? And it's going to tell you the notes. And in your DAW, you can do the same thing, right? You can say, lock this, show me all of the notes in a particular scale, right? We can go here in FL Studio, okay? We can pick major, minor, we can pick whatever, blues, and we can choose the key that we want to. And see if we do B minor. So the B minor natural or the Aeolian, okay, that's the B minor, or at least the B minor scale we're familiar with. And then you have a harmonic and a melodic minor scale as well. It's the only one that does that basically, but it's a combination. Well, one uses what is it, a raised what is it, 7th, while the other I think uses the raised 7th and also the raised 6th, like something like that. And then right, that's the harmonic, I think, or the melodic. I keep getting those confused. So that's why you can get something like in the natural minor, you will play this, right? Because that's part of the, right? So you play this. In the melodic minor, we raise the seventh, so we sharpen it. So you get something like this, right? So you can get something that's like. That's where you get that from. So in minor, a lot of times these chords are borrowed from different minor scales to kind of make things work, right? Right? So you can get some dope sounds from that. Uh, so from that to right, or sometimes you'll hear a song where right, and so it's just that walk up. And then same with like the blues, like minor blues. So okay, but we skip. We don't even play this note, right? And play this, but instead of playing this note, we play this note, right? So when you right, boom, and it just and you can do some cool stuff. Once you learn the other modes, like learning the other modes, it'll come later. Don't blow your brain out. But ever heard songs like that? That's a whole different scale. And once you learn those and different things you could borrow from, and like it still sound good, that's when you start getting. That's when you start becoming like the. Because again, what if you can? Right? So instead of this. Oh wait, hold on. We get this. And then you will get this. And it goes back. So these scales kind of allow you to form like different chords. And so when you're playing, it may sound like oops. And you're like, okay. And then they just hit that one chord. That's all you need. Because usually it's like one or two notes that aren't in that scale. And you're like, oh, okay. And that lets you know, all right, this ain't where you think you are. This ain't Kansas. See, if we were in the natural, I'll be playing that. But we're dealing with the always get this mixed up. I think that's the Phrygian scale. I think. Okay. If not, it's definitely Locrian. It's one of those two. Okay. But since we have a different scale when we go to form the chords, right? Because it's every other note in the scale, then you have to do that. And as you make your way around, right? So instead of playing this, because we don't have this note in that scale, this becomes the next skip. Every other note. Okay, you get here, and then here, where you would play this, skip every other note, because this note ain't in there. You get a note like this. So now you have chords that you can you can just like come up with stuff. Possibilities are endless after that. All right. So yeah, there's stuff that you could do, practice, and then once you kind of get familiar with the concepts of like the basic stuff, start going into some of the more like intermediate stuff. And the thing that I'm learning is once you learn the concept, then it applies everywhere. So it doesn't matter, right? That might sound cool here, but if I decide that I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying, that scale, that formula can still be applied, right? Right? And you can still take that and you can still and another key. You know what I'm saying? And you can, right? You can run this, okay? You can run it. For sure, you can run it. And that's it. So once you learn how it works in one key, then you'll learn how it works in all the keys following that same format, right? So if you're playing in D minor and you learned if you play D, and then G, okay? Minor, G minor, right? Okay, great. So let's count this. D1, E2, F3, G's 4. So you did a 1 to a 4, okay? That's all you did. We just went backwards, right? Going this way. It's still a G, that's still a 4, okay? So it doesn't matter then if you say, hey, I really like the way C sharp minor sounds. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now you know where your 4 is, you know where your 1 is. Now you can make chords. You know. It's the same thing. Once you learn it in one key, it goes wherever you go. And you could just find something where you like where it this is 4, so A, so I could does it sound better in E minor to me for what I want to do? Whoops. But you kind of get where I'm going there, right? Like once you can do it in one key, you can do it in the rest. So if you're doing that in minor scales, whatever moves you're making, it can be done in other minor scales, right? As long as it doesn't matter the key, as long as it's minor scale, you can do the same tricks work. Same thing with major. So what I was taught, okay, I got in the beat club and started networking. Pick a key. Pick a key you like and stay in that key. There's only 12 keys. Well, yeah, there's only 12 keys. A lot of scales, but there's only 12 keys. Learn everything you can in that key. All songs are made from one of these keys. So there are thousands upon thousands of songs. Okay, they're all made starting in one of these keys. So if you make 30 beats in C minor, okay, they're not all gonna sound the same because you're gonna learn so many tricks, like how to move from the 1 to the 4 without having to jump like that. Or maybe the way it sounds is word jumping, and you can have so many beats with the same, just done differently. Or oops. Okay, learn all the different tricks, the different right? Once you learn all the things you can do, then it doesn't matter what key you go to, all these things apply, right? Especially if you start learning, right? And I want to go here to A flat major, is that? Okay, so right, so we can look at this. Oops. So we can look. We have E flat. Okay. So we can you know what I'm saying? Those secondary dominant, right? And keep it moving. Like there's so much stuff you can do. There's so much things that you can learn if you pick one key and just stick in that key, right? Whoops. Right? If you learn these different movements, then it becomes nothing. You can take that wherever you go. Right? Doesn't matter. So one of those things that I learned took a lot of time to practice. Definitely took a lot of videos and stuff like that, but it's really easy to understand. And then once you understand what you're doing, then you can practice it. So you can practice everything in root. Go 1, 4, right? And that might give you an idea, right? 1, 4, 1, 4. And then the more you start doing it, right? Especially when you watch like others, like tutorials and stuff, and you may see them do something like this. Go on. That sounds kind of the same, but not as bright, right? Because doing this, that top note, brighter, right? But taking this note and putting it down here, not as bright, but it's the same chord. Then when it's time for me to jump down here, all I gotta do is one note over, one note over, one note over, right? Or I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking I was playing. We'll go a couple notes over, okay? But it's not doing this and then jumping all the way over here, going from here to here, going from here to here, going from here to here, right? These are really, really big jumps, but starting like this, and in some cases, right, if you're going up, then we know this has what? F, A flat, and C. Okay, we take the C and bring it down here. Okay, so now what do you notice? In C minor, you have C E G, or C E flat, G. Okay, but then to go to the F, all you have to do is take these two fingers, move the next note up, next note up. Right, and so you don't have to really look, and you can actually play. Because it's not that big of a jump and your brain's not going right. So once you kind of like understand where everything is, then it's not so bad. So like if you want to play C and then go to F, right, you have options. So you can go C, okay, in the C chord you have F, A, C, right? So you put the C down here, then F, A, right? What do you notice? C, F. Okay? So all we did was move these two fingers over one note. Okay? Now it's easy to kind of look at you and not have to focus. Okay? Because we already have that established. And then if I want to move to G, it's G, B, D, right? So it's nothing to just slide your fingers over just a bit. All your fingers shift over so you can right? So by using those techniques and inverting, because now this is F, A, C, since C is on the bottom, it makes it a second inversion, right? So it would be your root. This would be your first inversion. This would be your second inversion. And then it goes back to the root, which you can't see here. Okay, so root, first inversion, second inversion, back to your root. Okay, so, and then the more notes you have, the more variations you can do, and then it's a lot more complicated. All right, that's how you can do your circle of fifths. Okay, so you can start with your four. If you do it like this, you'll be doing this, right? Right, but if you use four, there's a nice little way you could do this. So here's our D minor, and then we have to move to G, right? So we would, but you don't have to do that, right? Take these two notes, move them over. Here I made that same sound. Why? Because G, B, D, F. G, B, D, F. It's the same thing. And then, after we move that, if you take your two left fingers or inside fingers and move them over a note, So you would this, jump to G, you would jump to C, then you would jump to F, then you would jump to B, then you would jump to E, then you would jump to A, right? And then you could keep doing this over and over and over. But if you do it this way, you're basically just walking down. Right? And you can keep going. Same pattern, doesn't change. Right? So the only thing that the only time you're bouncing around really is here. Right? It's in the lower, so you could play. Oh shoot, you would not mess that up. Tired already, huh? Okay, and then I skipped. I'm sorry, I butchered it. Alright. Go. Here, here, and then here, and here, and then here, and then here. Okay? And the only thing that's really moving around too much is this, right? But it's just one finger and you're not really moving, right? You're just there's a pattern where you're just kind of like in, out, in, out, in, out. Okay, so that has a pattern, and then now you have a pattern here, right? Same thing. So again, people tell you like music is pretty much math and like numbers. They're right. They're absolutely right, and I would tell you the same thing. So with that being said, let me get out of here. I think we done enough. Enough talking, enough showing. We got to finish for the most part mixing down that beat. I will get the arrangement on that done. And again, we got plenty of other stuff, man. We got plenty of other stuff, so I will be bouncing between making original music as well as doing the community project stuff as well. All right, so I'm trying to think. Is it here? Kind of bad when you got a lot of beats and like numbers and stuff, and you're trying to figure out what's what. I actually can't figure it out right now, so how about we leave it alone? Actually, I think this would be cool. Actually, I haven't played this one in a while. So, this one is original. Like I said, I love Complete 14. It was expensive. It took 2 years. It took 2 years to get the collector's edition. Okay. But every summer they have a sale. They do an upgrade. As long as you have some kind of complete something, okay? Or if you're buying, say you wanted to get a keyboard or something, depending on what you're actually buying, you can get a version of complete at a pretty good discount, like 50% off. 50% off for the upgrades, and I think if you're buying like, say you're gonna buy the new keyboard or something like that, depending on which one you get, the version, I think it still comes at 50% off. You'll just be paying for the board and the thing. So I got in that ultimate and then made the jump to the collector's edition. And now whenever another one comes out, all I gotta do is just upgrade to the next version, but I don't have to worry about the tiers, right? So I'll get everything that comes in with complete 15 when it drops. So I'm happy about that. See if we can. So again, the stuff that they have in here. And there's articulations and stuff here too that I'm not messing with, but right. But they got some really cool stuff. A lot of the things you can kind of manipulate here on the back end. I really like it. All right. So not only do they have a lot of instruments, but it has a lot of different like effects and things like that. Okay, you try to make something really crazy, it's got you covered. These are the libraries I don't visit much, but I need to. Cause a lot of good beats. Don't get me wrong. There's some got instruments going, whole band and everything. A lot of stuff, especially stuff like people end up dancing to the club in, or it's like not very instrument heavy. It's very effect heavy. Right. So just stuff like that kind of helps it go. No instrument loaded. What? I don't know what happened, and now I'm scared. Okay, dun, dun, dun. And that's not gonna play. That's wild. That's wild. Okay, I'm gonna have to figure out what happened to that library. You know what? I just realized something. What is going on here? Nobody was gonna say anything? How long has that been going on? Yo, what? So wait. We gotta turn this back on. Are you telling me like when I bring stuff up, like when has it been doing that? Was it just this? See, now it's trying to act like you don't. Yeah, see now it's acting like you don't want to do it. But I know what was making it do that, and now I'm trying to figure out how long is that going on? I'm so sorry. I'm gonna go back and watch that stuff, and I'm gonna probably be cracking up because I didn't know it was doing that. I didn't know I had the game capture and display capture on. So some of the windows I was bringing up, it was just full screening it, And if I didn't close out of it, you guys were just seeing. You guys weren't seeing what I was doing because. Oh wow. Yeah, so I just noticed that when I looked over, I'm looking at my stream window and I'm like, wait a second, why is that full screen? There's nothing going on here, it's in the back. And then that's when it hit me. That's when it hit me. So, yeah, I like this. I'm gonna have to reinstall this library because it's telling me. Yeah, but it's playing. It's playing the sound that I picked, but it's if I try and wait. There we go.
This is another Ron production.
I have fun doing this. So that's what it sounds like. And then we got this reverb delay combo, okay? And it's just kind of bouncing it around and just making that sound a little more exciting. Telling you, there's so much stuff in here that I need to like actually just telling you, we can make some crazy stuff with this. Oh, because it's under this. It's just wild. This is like a bunch of drums. Synths. Trying to tell y'all, there's stuff in here. One day I'll dig through. Alright. One day I'll actually dig through and we'll see like what all is in there. Until then. Right, until then, yeah. Actually, was that it? No. Go back. Was that it? It's not this one, it's this one. I think we found it. I need to fix this one up too. This will be proper. So it's like, there's so many things. There's so many things that I want to do. The music, and I feel like I don't have time because I want to make something original, but then I want to do like a remix, like grab an acapella and just rework the song, right? And then I want to like, it's too much. And then I sit down and I'm like, so what should I do? what should I do? Then I get lost. Well, I won't say lost. I become indecisive. Let's just call it for what it is. I get indecisive. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that, or if I want to do this, or if I want to do that, right? Um, but I need some kind of format. I need some kind of format. Like, okay, today we're doing this, or I don't know. Let's try this first and foremost, and then if this ain't working, we got something to follow. I don't know really, but tell me about that.
This is another hit Ron production.
So tell me about that. That blues scale, right? Right? We skip this one. We take this one. We skip this one. Okay, so we have right, which makes interesting talks of the chords, right? And you can always just let your fingers slide. Right? So, kind of playing on that, okay?
This is
we have
another
this kind of doing the same
Ron
thing.
production.
Just kind of layering. I kind of cut it out here in the intro, just so.
Legion of Tunes.
Like I said, once you start getting familiar with the movements and the different things you can do and how you can kind of like take things or just little simple motions make a whole lot of difference. Alright, it just does. So, like I said, the advice that was given to me is pick a key. Pick a key, learn everything. So, I chose C minor. That was my key. All right. And so I learned all I could. I learned how to play the scale. I learned how to form the chords in that scale. Right? Learned the concepts. I learned how to build progressions and the different progressions I could build doing it. Right? You know, oh shoot. It's not even done loading. I was like pushing stuff. All right. I don't think this will. Right. So. right? You learn these different things and then you can move them, you can play differently, you don't have to play them in chords, you can. Right? There's just different ways you can do the same thing and still make something sound interesting, right? How many songs are out there that are made in C minor, right? There's hundreds, there's thousands. There's probably tens of thousands. People do it all the time, right? Some of your favorite songs, maybe 4 of them are in the same key, but the instruments, the progression, right, the way they chose to do the movements, maybe they didn't do that. Maybe they started back here and then went here, so it gives it a different sound, different color, but there'd be the same chords, okay? So, that being said, since we found what we're looking for here, I can finally leave. Alright, people. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Hope you had a wonderful time watching me mix some stuff down. Hope you learned some things. And then at the end, we kind of goofed around, but, you know, that's the thing. Trying to rise. Okay? YouTube, Kick, you know. Again, once I get these beats done and everything, hold on. Once I get these beats done, I will get them put up on my YouTube channel, okay? Yeah, YouTube is where I'm trying to grow, and then Kick, it's experimental, but whether I'm successful on Kick or not is not of my concern. But YouTube and out there in the real world, okay? With my music and my skills, audio engineering skills, working on my music theory skills, okay? That's what's important to me, that's what matters to me. So in the same lane, let's work, let's grow, let's learn, right? I don't know it all, right? But I'm willing to share what I know. Maybe you're not, but that's okay. Maybe you're selective with who you share it with, and that's okay too. But that's my thing. So it's kind of like a beacon. I just gotta put it out there. Something's gonna happen. All right. But with that, enjoy the rest of Angie Stone. Love you, Angie. I'm out. Peace. Remember, stay patient, remain diligent, and as always, be majestic.
Every time you say you're coming, why you disappoint me, honey? How you forgot when you were down that I was around. I can't eat, I can't sleep anymore, waiting for love to walk through the door. I wish I didn't miss you anymore. Miss you. One of these days it's gonna happen to you. Missing the love like I'm missing you. Oh, yeah. One of these days when